Hey, what's up everyone? Adam here with brahwegotthis, and today we are going to talk about some base game settings that everyone should turn on or at least think about turning on while you're playing ESO. I've started noticing that in our weekly guild trials on Tuesday night that we do here, some players aren't seeing certain mechanics or callouts or various other things, or they just might not know what we're talking about when we say something. It was then pointed out to me by a fellow officer of the guild, Nell, so thank you Nell, that if you purchased the game within the last year and a half roughly, the game came with certain settings turned off to start, which I thought was kind of insane. When I started playing ESO, I don't think this was the case at all. So let's get into some of these settings to help you in your experience in ESO, and let me remind you, this is not add-ons, these are base game settings, so this is for all platforms. Thank you so much again to my patrons. I really do appreciate it. Check out my Patreon down below, Twitch channel, Discord, website, brahwegotthis.com. If you want to check out any of that, it's all in the description. So the first setting we're going to go into today is the auto loot setting. Okay, auto loot. This is turned off when you come into the game, and what you'll need to do is go to the gameplay tab once you go to settings. So go to gameplay and you will go down to items. This says auto loot. What auto loot does is essentially when you click on a body of a creature or enemy, it will automatically loot the items for you, as well for a chest. And what I like to do is turn on consolidate area loot, because if you have a group of enemies like around you, it will get all the loot in that area. If you don't, then you're gonna have to loot them individually, and this is just a massive quality of life thing that I think everyone needs to have turned on. But the other thing I want to point out here is that turn off auto loot stolen items, because if you don't have that, then you're going to automatically steal something and you're going to gain, some bad reputation, and you're going to get attacked by guards, and no one wants that. You also want prevent stealing placed items on, because this is something that will help you not steal things, like I said. Another thing you can turn on is auto add to craft bag, so you don't have to do this yourself. Just put that on if you have ESO Plus. It's very, very simple. The next thing I want to talk about is the HUD or heads up display and ability and attribute bars. If you look down at my screen right now, obviously I have some add-ons right now on my screen, but you'll see that down here at the bottom, I have all my skills active, my ultimate, my potions, all that stuff. It's always active no matter what. When you come into the base game, you have the option to have that as well. They just don't look the same style because that's an add-on, but you have the ability to do that, and for some reason in the game it turns it off, or it has it on automatic because it wants you probably to not break immersion or anything like that. But for me, I really need this because it allows you to know what key you're clicking at first. Like when I first started out, I didn't know where my engulfing flames was, and it's like, okay, it's at the 3 key. When it would only show up in combat, it would really confuse me and make it really difficult. If you go to settings and then you go to combat, you'll see here ability bar. You can always show automatic, don't show. I like always showing. I don't have the timers on because I have an add-on. Attribute bars, I always show as well. These are your, health, stamina, magicka, and resource numbers % only. The next thing I want to talk about is active combat tips. I want to always show these. I think any beginner should show these. This will control the display of helpful combat tips at the bottom of the heads up display. When automatic display is chosen, it will only show it when necessary to learn the core mechanics of combat. I think people need these on, in my opinion, but this leads me to my next setting, which is one of the biggest settings and reasons of making this video, and that is your combat settings and your combat cues. Okay, so if you go to the gameplay tab right here, a lot of times people don't have combat cues on, they have it off. Combat cues are essential in this game, in my opinion, if you're going to do group things or even solo things. What combat cues are is it shows you when an enemy is going to attack you or do an area of effect or something of that nature, okay? So like we've been doing a trial, we're like, hey, get out of the red, get out of the AoE the boss is doing, and some people don't know that that's going on because they don't have this on. So if you look here, you can test, this is what it's gonna look like when an enemy dot or AoE is on you. It's that red color right there, right? Now, it also is helpful for friendly, because if you're in a dungeon and your healer's trying to heal you or give you a buff, it will show a friendly color. You can change these colors to whatever you want. If you want the friendly to be blue, you can. If you want the enemy color to be like not red, you can. You can also turn the brightness up and down. I like having it very bright. Okay, so an example, I'm gonna go into this fight right here. Okay, we're gonna fight this guy. I'm probably not gonna survive, but you see this the red fire there? that, and then that little cone attack, that would not be shown if you have combat cues off. So let's turn this off real quick and I'll show you. So you'll see in this fight, you don't see these little fire circles around when he's doing his spread attack. Now, obviously you see those little circles, right? But when you have this off, it doesn't show every single global setting that an enemy does, right? It's very difficult sometimes to know when he's like, what's gonna hit you? Because you see that fire right there, right? Well, you don't know how wide that hitbox is. You have no idea. So if you don't have combat cues on, you're missing some of those mechanics. So again, let me turn it on real quick again, and you'll see the difference. So obviously you're still gonna see the like this ability, but see the where it shoots the fire out from its body. You see that right there? That is not normally able to be seen. Same with that cone attack. So you see that cone attack that it just did. If you don't have these cues on, you can't see and dodge those type of things. See that right there? You wouldn't be able to see that tail swipe. This is really, really crucial if you want to do group and raid content and like solo content like Maelstrom Arena, because if you can't see those kind of cues, then you're not going to know. It makes it extremely easier to do the content. Now, another setting that I think is a solid setting that is kind of a preference if you want it or if you don't want it is right under that. There's a thing called quick cast ground abilities. So I have this on. So what happens is when you have this on, this skill right here that you see, Eruption, it will automatically cast for you when you click it one time, which means that where you're pointed is where you're going to cast it. You see that? If you don't have that on and you have it off, what happens is, or if it's automatic, it chooses it for you, but if you have it off, you don't have it on at all. That means that you have to press the button and place it and then click again. Now, some of you might like that, but when you're doing rotations, okay, that will be another click or another thing you're gonna have to do that makes it harder for you to weave your abilities in. So if that's something that you're having trouble with, like weaving, and you're like, why this is so difficult trying to point this and all the other stuff, if you don't like that, then I, in my opinion, would turn that on so you don't have to point it. You just do it one time and it's done. So that's a setting that's a preference, but I think some people need to have that on. Next settings we're gonna go over are the camera settings. This is something I don't think people realize, okay? There are a ton of camera settings here. You can do first person settings, all that stuff. I don't really go into first person, but for third person, you can change the field of view that you want, like extremely different, like it can be extremely different. Like I just changed it to the default there. I like having mine all the way up for camera though, because you'll see here, my field of view is way back. My horizontal position is at default right now, but you can actually change that. You can put it like right in the middle, but my horizontal offset is at default as well. You can also move that, but I'm just gonna keep mine at default for the most part. But the biggest thing I want you to see here is vertical offset. Vertical offset is definitely a way different view. If you do this, you're literally looking at, you're like at ground view. So if you have to look up to do your abilities, like it's just very, very interesting in my opinion. I'm not a fan of it being that low. So personally, I have my vertical offset way higher than that. So if you go to camera, I like having mine up here, but this is a personal preference. Next setting I want you to have turned on. This is really great for you if you do not have add-ons or if you're on console, but that is the quest tracker. Okay, so you'll see your quest trackers off for me because I have add-ons, but if you turn this on, it will show up in the top right corner over there what quests you're doing, and that is actually really, really helpful so you don't have to go to your journal. Next big one is nameplate settings. This is a massive thing. Okay, let me tell you something. This is massive. All right, so nameplate settings, if you go here, something that I think you should always have on is show enemy NPC. So right here you'll see in enemy NPCs, you can always have that on, and then show enemy health bar, enemy NPC health bar, have it on always as well. The reason this is helpful is it just allows you to see what is going on and how much health they have. I personally don't like not having the health bars. Now some people have a different preference, but for me, I love having this on. Now there are tons of other settings you can do here. You can turn other people's health bars on, your self health bar, all this stuff, but I would definitely get those two because I think they're important. Okay, the next one is the social tab. This is very important because it will help you if you are a part of guilds, okay? or any type of other chat, right? You have all the different colors. It will help you differentiate what colors are which. So change certain guilds to different colors, because if you don't, you're not gonna know what guild you're talking in. So you just go over here, click this, and change the color, and you can do that for every single type of chat. The other thing too is if you do not want to see profanity, you can turn that filter off or on. It is up to you. But again, these are just settings that I think every player should have on, or at least consider, because they are very, very crucial to some parts of the game, and they really are nice quality of life updates to the game for you, and they are not add-ons, so everyone can do this. But if you did like this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, heavy attack that bell icon to stay up to date on all the content in the channel. And if you have any other sort of setting that you think players should turn on, make sure to leave a comment below and let us know. And I'll have other content here in the screen right here that you can check out after this video as well. But thank you for watching, y'all. Just have faith, be great. I'll see you on ESO.